The topic we are discussing today is machine learning and practicing ethical AI. And joining us is Emmanuel Beve, Chief Technology Officer of AIDEC Digital and an AI ethicist. He has done in-depth research on the subject matter of ethical AI, and he's very eager to share some insight with you. Please join me welcome Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Good morning to all of us. Good morning to all of us. I'm privileged to, do this presentation. Personally, I've been in the tech space working for over 15 years, trying to digitalize, trying to understand, and also help companies and businesses to grow. So my perspective in this area today is going to be more practical. We want to look at some, practical steps in AI fields. So as the speaker said, or introduced me to the topic, we want to look at artificial intelligence. What is this whole, monster, or if that is the right word to use, it's all about? What is it? It seems like we are really in just wilderness, and we are hearing a noise or sounds. A lot of people are making noise about something, and we really don't know what that thing is. So today, I want us to look at exactly what the AI space look like and how government or individuals we can begin to, have debates on this field. So as I introduce myself, I'm information system professional, also with BI knowledge as well. I do data analysis as well. So yes, that's just a brief about what I can say. So my job today is basically simple. The objective of this presentation is to just, sail all of us through to understand the challenges in more or less like algorithm and how unfairly people are using these to benefit themselves, but probably not for all of us. We'll also look at the contemporary, way of developing AI or machine learning systems as compared to that of the normal or conventional software that we know of developing software. What's the difference? We'll be looking at it as we move on in the presentation. We'll also look at what big data is. Okay, where are the sources of big data? We'll look at the literacy or data literacy. If you talk about data literacy, what it is about, what we all need to be doing or begin to look at when we are looking at data literacy. And we'll also look at ethical frameworks. All right, there are frameworks that are being introduced now because it's a new area. And so what we can be doing is to looking at frameworks, looking at principles, and then we move that to laws so that becomes something that we can work with so we can all be on the same page. And we'll also look at the harm that's associated with AI or being unfair, using AI unfairly. We'll look at that. And then we'll also explore or we'll get some understanding of human rights that apply in AI. What are the human rights when it comes to AI? All right, then we look at the way forward. So that will be my objective, basically, going into this presentation. Okay, so there was this that came up in 2023, I think it was in April, yes, where a survey was done and 36% of the researchers that went through this work thought that the AI made decision could lead to a nuclear level kind of catastrophe. So there's this fear that definitely it may even change the way our society look like. It's a very recent research. Then I look for a quote related to AI. And it says that by far, the greatest danger of artificial intelligence is that people conclude too early that they understand it. Okay, they conclude very early and say, oh, this one we understand, we know what it is. And he also says that the sad thing about AI is that it lacks artifice and therefore intelligence. There's no bias. There's no, shortcut. It doesn't say that, oh, okay, I know you, so, we can do it this way. You know how we do it. Oh, I know you, so we can deal with it at our level. So let's forget about all these long processes. It never cuts corners. It goes through because it's a steps, it's an algorithm. And so it must read through every instructions and give you the right answer. Okay, all right. Then, Elon Musk, 17th April 2023, this year, okay, he said, AI is more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft, design or production maintenance, or bad car production. He said that. We captured that from Fox News, right? So you can see that a lot of experts in the field are talking because of what they have seen that probably we have not. So we want to delve into what actually they've seen that we have not seen. We want to look at that. So here again with the Apple co-founder have signed together with 1,300 other members. They have signed signatories. All right, they have letter calling for a halt. They want pause into a development of AI and even the training of AI now. So they have found out that things are, regularized and things are better for them to do. And they also propose that all AI, interested parties should be looking at OpenAI or ChatGPT. That's where everybody should be exploring for now. Once they worked on, the dangers ahead of us, you can see what they're reading. Now, this one that I saw, it was also this month or last month or so, and I saw it on UNESCO's Facebook page or wall. Then I got a bit alarmed again, and I said, "What is going on?" And yes, algorithmic, biases is real. So they are now putting in place what principles that will guide, or ethics that will guide the use of AI, because the tool is now available to everybody. If you have the knowledge, you can tweak it to your use or your taste, and deny everybody whatever access or whatever is available to all of us. This is another man. Just recently have to resign from Google. Why? Because he wants to speak up. He's ready now to speak up because of what they've been doing all the while. Okay, so he want to speak up. He says it's dangerous. So all these people speaking, these are the experts. We call him the grandpa of AI. He's now leaving the space. So what is in there? All right, so we want to look at the fundamentals of, where the AI thing started from. So when you look at this, we have the AI, which we said that any device or any machine that works smartly, that can work very smartly, just like human, being, that device or machine should be referred to as artificial intelligence device or machine. All right, so under artificial intelligence, we have machine learning. Machine learning uses what is a subset of AI, and we are saying that it builds on what? Models based on training data to make predictions. Okay? All right, so we'll go into detail of this. We'll understand what these things are all about. The model. If you are a social scientist, you understand what is called theory. Okay, they say use theory to predict when you're writing a report. They will ask you, okay, which theory are you using? when you say theory to an outsider, it sounds like, but you go to school and go and learn theories. But for academicians, theory is more or less like a baseline for your project. So what you are doing, what example are you referring to? To making sure that what you are producing is serious. Okay, so that is machine learning. Then deep learning. This is where the danger is. This is where the real danger is. And that is where a lot of people are running away because they've noticed that there's so much, that can be done here. So we say deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and it deals with algorithms. And it also has to do with the use of or the work of neurons. Okay? So the neural network, just like our brain, we'll look at that once we move on with the presentation. And with all this, at the center of it all is that we have data science. Okay, so if you are a data scientist, you need to have touch of all this to be able to make proper decision, to be able to make an insight of what the data you have extracted for decision making. Okay, so you cannot collect data. You cannot just get the data without understanding what is in the data. So for you to understand what is in the data, you need to understand all this to be able to do that. So I have explained the data science earlier. This concept started somewhere in 1960. And the idea is to make good decision in business. The idea of data science is for us to make good decision in business. Because doing business, a lot of people do business and they have to sit down and just, let's crack our brains. Let's put our head together. What is going to happen next? But now people are looking at dashboards, right, to make decision. And that is due to data science. Okay. Artificial intelligence. It also started somewhere in 1950, just as the data science. But this concept has been there for a long time, all right? Because we know that in the Industrial Revolution era, we saw machines being used for work, all right? How did they work? They work more like human beings. They sort out things. So for instance, you can have mango, banana, and apple together, and you ask the machine, select all the mangoes, or select all the mangoes to one box, or bananas to another box, and then apple to another one. And the machine will be able to do that. That is not using machine learning or deep learning, but it's an AI device, because it uses logics. It uses algorithm to be able to sort those things for you, right? Now, so we want to look at types of AI. So we have weak AI, which I'll explain very soon. Then we have general AI. Then we also have strong AI. So these are the three types of AI we have. Now, the weak AI have a specialized work to do. The work has been defined for the weak AI to do. So we have specialized one like Siri, you saw that on your app machines, Alexa, and then Cortana. These are specialized, AI. They are designed to perform specific functions. And when you are given functions beyond them, they will tell you they cannot. They won't be able to do that. Then we also have the second one, which is a general AI. This one works just like a human being. It works with how our brains work, or how we can also work. Then we have the strong AI that works more than what the brain can take, or what we can take actually as human beings. Now I put in here the hypes in AI when it all started. Within or less than 2 years, there was a lot of things that happened. We saw a lot of things happening like computer vision. We want computer device to see, or to predict, or to identify stuff. All right. So that happened within that range. Within 2 to 5 years, a lot of things happened. Okay, fixes, informed AI, data centrics. You can pick them using the colors. All right, so you can see the indicators here and what happens within the range. So in July 2022, a lot of things happening, and 2023 is what we are waiting for to see what is happening. And I know a lot of productivity is happening now. A lot of people are using AI to do, to transform their businesses. So that is what is happening. Machine learning. Okay, so this whole idea was started by Frank and Samuel somewhere in 1940. That's what the record says. And machine learning, as we said, basically works or focuses on using data and algorithm to more or less like behave like how humans behave. All right, so we'll go in detail. Now, types of machine learning. What is in there? We have supervised, unsupervised, and we have reinforcement. What are these three things mean? The first one is that every data we put into the machine learning process or algorithm should be labeled. If there's a label on it, it means that, yes, we can supervise what is happening in there. If it's not, how do we still make decisions with data that has not been labeled? We don't know whether they have age, name, sex, date, all that. There's nothing like that. The date, everything is mixed up. How do we still sort those out and make decisions? All right, so that falls under the unsupervised category. Then we have reinforcement learning. This particular one, I want to use this room as an example. We can have an agent, just agent like a robot. Okay, so let's say I'm a robot, and then they place me in this room. I have to learn on my own to begin to understand that you are sitting here. I can give you a name, and then I will call you by that name. All right. I can even try to identify your name. All right. So anytime the agent is released, it will move around. When he gets to, when he probably maybe hits something, we would actually punish the agent by either subtracting something from it, or we give it a pain or something. Then if it goes through successfully, we'll reward the agent. So what is happening there? He's trying to learn. Over time, it's learning by itself. All right? So that is where the danger is. You don't know what he's learning. Probably he's coming to you, studying you, study your shape, your head, your everything. Then the next time he begins to now want to read your mind, what is in there, and that kind of thing. So this is another area that really has a issue. We'll look at that. So these are some of the areas that machine learning was applied, or it's being applied, and it's still in existence. We see that in medical diagnosis, right? So a lot of it, online fraud detections and speech recognitions, image identity. We can read your iris or read your facial, look, and then identify you and call your name, and also know that you are the one. And then we also have self-driven cars, all right, using machine learning. All right, so what is deep learning? I said earlier that this is where a lot of people are scared. And we saw all these big guys saying, please put hold on this for now. Okay, so what is there that everybody is running away from? Okay, so we also say that it actually gain knowledge just like human beings. Okay, it gain knowledge just like human being and acts accordingly, even more than human being. Okay, so these are the types that we have. Artificial neural networks, we have convolution, and we have recurring. Then under these, we have some models. Okay, now so take these models as brains. Okay, so these are brains that are being created every day, depending on what work you want the intelligence or the agents to do. You should be able to. So these are some of the brains that are being created already. Okay, so regression under supervised. Okay, regression more or less give you a relationship between variables. You have X and Y. Okay, what's the relationship? We predict to know that whether the X would become this or Y would have effects on the other. So these are the types that, or the kind of brains. I'm still calling it brain. That these are the neurons. So these are the brains that are being produced. Okay, for various things, you know, that it can produce. So we also have classification, where you can use for image classification, customer retentions, and all that. Then we come to the unsupervised. We also have all these under them. Clustering is there. We spoke about if you have several data without label, how do you classify, or how do you put them together, identify each of them and know this one belongs here and this one is this and that. Okay, so all that is done under clustering, and you can also recommend. Okay, you can have a system that can do a recommendation and all that. So they're all done under that one. And then we also have generative neurons. We saw what is happening in the chat GPT. Okay, chat GPT is using this brain a lot for the processing of the test and giving us a report. Okay, then we also have a reinforcement part, which has to do with real-time decision, robotic navigations, okay, which is happening. Cars, we have cars now that can move without anybody being there. All right, so, and then learning tasks. So these are brains that they have, or we have created, all right, using mathematics. All this, the basis of all this is maths. Nothing. I remember somebody saying that I went to school, I learned this algebra and all this, and so I don't use it anymore. It means that probably the space where you find yourself is not useful. It's useful for others. So people sat down and just create and, you know, came out with all this to make decisions. So these are more like a graphical look for some of these brain work. Now, I'll be taking you to another area, which will probably be coming back to these slides to look at, to just look at it. Right. Now, I spoke about neurons, and I spoke about brains being created, and I showed you the modules that are created, the models that are created. And these models are what we call the brains. And so what is happening there? What is happening basically is that the mathematicians, okay, these computer scientists are trying to mimic the brain of a human being. How does the brain of a human being work? Okay. Now, so we have the neuron, okay. These circles you see represent the neurons, okay. So you can see this is how the proper neuron look like in your brain. So as I'm talking right now, you are listening to me. So you are taking an input, all right. You are sucking in what I'm saying, not through your mouth, but through your eyes and your ears. These are your inputs. So it gets into your brain, and then something triggers. So we have these, you know, lines here, which called the synapses. This is what send the signal, or when I talk, is the one that send the signal to the neuron. And then the neuron also do some, you know, multiplications and some, you know, additions and some charges. There's something in there called electrical, you know, powers. So these electrical powers spark. They are the one that moves the nerves from one neuron to another. So that's the work of them. So we want to mimic this behavior. So what did we do? We have to go and write mathematical formulas. Call them functions. That will activate anytime you put data into, you know, systems like this. Push it from one neuron to another neuron. But when you get to one neuron, there's some tweak. They put some powers on it. We call them weights. So we look at that. So you can see that this is what we have drawn. What exactly happens in the neurons. Now we have input. So take this one as numbers or text that you're typing into a system. Then you have layers in between. Most often we have two layers in between. And then in those two layers, they are hidden. You don't see them. What you see is the inputs, and what you see is the output. When you are typing, you see what you're typing, right? But when you hit send, do you see anything? You don't see anything. Sometimes you just see that there's something working or something turning. All right? So what is turning in there is going through the brain, to compute what exactly is happening there. Then give you an outcome. So that is basically what is happening here. Now, the lines you see here, as we have mentioned here, we sometimes call them weights. So once you are pushing a data to the next neuron, or an information or signal to the next neuron, you can decide that you'll be biased. Either you want more of the weight, you can add more weight to the signal that is coming here, or you reduce it. So we call that, if you are increasing, you call it overfitting. If you are reducing, you call it underfitting. Okay? So these are some of the things that are done to change decisions in whatever, outcome you want to get. Because you know what you want. All right? If you want it to suit you, you can tweak it anyhow you want it. So you saw in the earlier presentation where UNESCO says, no, we need to put something in place. Algorithmic biases is dangerous and it's real because people want it to suit them. So how do we do that? How do we deal with things like this? Okay. Now, I want us to watch a very short video on what I've just explained. This is what happened in there. So, once you send your whatever data, this is one of the brains, okay? Now, let's say you are sending these numbers. Okay, once you send the number, look at the number of neurons behind. You can decide to, add whatever neurons you want to add based on the work you want to perform or the task you want to perform. Okay, so these are the outcomes. Okay, these are the outcomes that you see. So that's once you type in something, you see that there. So that is the explanation to what we've just saw earlier. So you saw in the video or in the next slide, I spoke about weights. Weights. Okay, so you can see the lines, those lines there. So you can decide that what is coming to this neuron can be 2 or 3 or thousands. Okay, and you can see from here the number of hidden neurons in this particular one. Okay, so this is where the fear is. Once they sat down to program, they decided to program to suit whatever they want, they want as an outcome. So the fear is that somebody who have no conscience can use this for very, 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 dangerous thing. And that is what is happening at Google. And Geoffrey felt that, no, this one I have to come out and say it the way it is. So he has to resign and do that. Because doing it whilst you are in the, doing it whilst you are in the service, it means that you are trying to go according to what the rule says. You cannot be in your company and be reporting your company. All right? It's not done. Okay? So you have to go. Right. Now, at this time, I want us to get a bit busy. We saw how the neurons work. We have prepared something on your screen for you. So please touch your screen and then let's try how biased we can also be. Whether you can be fair or you can be biased, once you are trying to create neurons for yourself. So for those of you who have phone and you want to just take a shot and look at it, you can take a shot of this one on your phone, QR code it, and then you can use your phone if you want to use your phone. So in front of you, you will see that we have a graphical image of the neuron. thought I was pasting it. Maybe I didn't paste it. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay. So I think you can see you can see something there. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So on your right side is the image, the outcome of what you want to see. Whether you want to see it so much or less or more. So you see plus and minus at the top of each of the layers. So you see the boxes, the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. So move to the third one. I think you have only one there. So if you click the plus sign, it adds more neurons. The second one, the third one. From your left, the third one. Yes, this one. So when you click the plus sign, you can see that you are adding more weight and more neurons to the layer. So, and you can keep looking at your right side, you will see that the image keep changing. All right? So it means that the decision you want to make, it's all coming from you. And you decide what you want to see and what you want to get. And so therefore, you want to add more weight or more neurons to be able to get, your results. And at this point, you can forget about everybody. Do you know that? You can forget about everybody and do what you think pleases you. But if we put barriers, if you put blocks on the way, that can curtail how people can go beyond, certain thresholds. All right? So these are some of the things that we want to make sure that we guard against. And this is all that everybody is talking about. Because there's no law, now people are doing it their own way. People are creating things on their own. And these things are learning every day, and it may be dangerous. Okay, it may be dangerous. Now, another thing I want us to do is that we have a data here. I'm going to go take you through coding. I mean, some of you probably you've not coded before, but today we are all going to code. Okay, all right. So look at this data here we have. We have this data in front of us. So, I mean, bunch of numbers. How do you make sense out of this? It's difficult, yeah? All right. This is a data that collects the cancerous, features of people, right? Then put together. And then some few analysis was done based on the mean and all that. So it's basically capturing the means, okay, of the texture, parameters, area, smoothness, just picking the mean, all right, and dropping them here. But I want to make sense out of all these things, all right, to see whether the cancer level, okay, is high or low, okay. So here the diagnosis, the 1 and zeros. Oh, sorry, I didn't capture the 0 ones. I mean, probably the data is very long here. So the 1 mean that your test you're going to run is accurate, okay. Then the 0 is not, okay. So any number below 0 or 1 is good. Lower than 1 is not good at all, right? So you can have as low as 0.9. 0.9 is close to 90%. Okay, that's 90% here. Okay, but if you get 1, then you are 100% correct. Now let's code now. Okay, so what is happening here in machine learning is that we want to put the data that we have there. It's in Excel, right? So we want to put it into what we call library. Okay, in coding we call it library. So we drop it in a library called pandas. All right. So these pandas is basically to do some, computation. All right. Pandas also has features for display as well. Right. So if you look at this, we are saying X and Y in the data. We are representing columns, okay, the rows and the columns, okay. Then we give one X, we give the other one Y, right? So here you can see that we are reading the file. So we say that the panda should read the file called cancer. That's what we did over there. And then we went on to say that on X column, put this name there. And then on Y column, also put this name. But this one will be on Y column. But here in X column, drop the column diagnosis. So when you go to the diagnosis here, we say you should drop it from this column. All right? So that's what is happening in the code there. Then we went on to say that splits. When you are splitting data, what you do is that you split the data in machine learning. You don't put the entire data there and say analyze it. But we take part of the data and train that data in the machine learning code, and then compare it to what is being pushed there, or the entire code, so that we'll have accuracy. So it's for the accuracy purposes. Okay, that's why we split the data and train part of it to fit into the bigger data. So here, these are some of the libraries that is used for splitting data on X and Y axis. And here, this is the size of the data we are using for the testing, which is about 20%. Mind you, I spoke about 0 to 1. So we are talking about minute numbers, not big. So when you see this is 20%. Okay? Then we move on to building the model. This is where the danger is. You see, those who have been coding, when they get here, they decided to do what pleases them. All right? Now, we spoke about the neurons that are designed already. If you are here, you can be here, which is the machine learning stage, and not be at the deep learning stage. The deep learning area is a different area, because that's the area that people are developing the brains. Their job is to develop brains that can be tapped into. I still mean brain models. Okay? All right. So people are there doing that kind of work. And then some other people are here. I mean, most of us are here. Okay? So we tap into the brains. So whatever brain that is available, that is what we can tap into and use it for our purpose. So people who are at the deep learning level, they would probably create the evil. Okay? They will first create the evil and then left the evil for us. Then we can also come in and tap into that evil. Are you getting the point? So it's a whole cartel business. All right? So I am here. I think that, if I use this library or if I use this brain, I can get my result that I'm looking for. But those at the deep learning area who are developing the brains or the models are also busily, changing. They can even update, they can do whatever, because what suits them, they feel that, no, this calculation I did, I need to put this calculation there so that it can call specific function and destroy something or do something else in your data or in your whatever agent you are building. Mind you that this is just a minute of what is happening. We looked at different types of AI, which is reinforcement, okay, which is working on its own. Nobody say what it should do. You put it here and it learns within seconds and it does its own thing. So when it gets here, we call something TensorFlow. TensorFlow is also one of the brains that are created. It's more like a library of brains. Okay, so you saw we are using a model called sequential. Okay, that is in here. We're using a model called sequential. And then when you get here, you saw I gave you 3 layers. The outer layer, which is the inputs, the input layer, the middle layer, which is in front of you there, which are the 2 are hidden. And then we have the outer layer, which is the outcome. So this is what we are declaring here. The first one here is the input. You see that? That's the input. Then the middle one here is what we don't see. We don't know what is happening there. It's not to us. It's to the deep learning guys. They really understand what is going on. Then I spoke about activation in the brain. That we want to mimic the brain. So in the brain there is electric power that moves the signals from one neuron to the other. Yes, we have the same thing here. So there is Simond. Simond is a function, okay, that give movement from one neuron to the other. So from for a signal or a figure or whatever character to move from one neuron to the other, it should be done by the work of Simon. Okay, so that's what happens here. So it does the activation. So here you can see the number of the weights that we saw, those lines. These are the numbers. So this is the inputs, the one we don't see, the hidden one, and then the outcome. The outcome, we just want only one outcome, right? Then you do your compilations, and then you check the accuracy level of the data, if it's close to 1 or it's 1. All right, so that is what happened here. So all the explanation I've done are all in these slides. Basically, for those of you who don't understand, we're going to share the slides so that you can have a better comprehension of what happened. So it's the same diagram that you see over there, basically. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. How does it affect society? Yeah. Yes. So, yes. So, you are biased towards specific thing. You know what you want, right? So you put all that you want in one, agent, and then all of a sudden the agent begins to learn by itself, because over time it needs to replicate, it needs to learn. That's why we train. We train it. Okay, do this, do that. Then it learns every day. It put it back and say, okay, I like this one. Then the next time it gets another record, it learns, and then the next one it begins to create trouble with what it has learned over time. So that can cause total confusion. What about if you have a robot? A robot for probably moving goods from one place to another, and then the next day it decided it's not going to carry the load again. It's not going to carry human being instead of the load. You see what is happening? That is the danger. A robot coming to you and saying it's coming to carry you. Where is it carrying you to? You have no idea. So that is a danger we want to let people who are into the space, or if you have a knowledge and you want to impart people, you want to tell people, let them know that it is dangerous. Okay, do it to the level that we all needed it. So that is where they ask that quickly there should be some embargo. There should be, law to regulate what is happening. Yeah, in Ghana, anytime there's technology or something, we tend out to wait until the thing gets, grounds before we begin to now legislate. But we are saying that no, this technology is not the kind that you have to wait. You need to move with it. When you move one step, you must follow and calculate and understand what step is the technology making. Otherwise, we will all be here, and one day, we are gone. Robots will say that they have rights. They have rights. They also want to, have life just like human beings have life. What society are we building? Okay, so these are some of the things that we want to talk about. So once you are into this, we're looking at the AI, the ethical part now. Okay, so now we're done with all the technical, bits of it. Now we want to look at what exactly can we do to prevent all the dangers that we saw. Okay, so we are talking about the environment. We are talking about our lives. Okay, we are talking about how we live as people. Can that be altered? Can that be changed completely one day? If that is so, then we need to begin to, have a conversation. We need to now get closer to the table and have a conversation. All right. So, what is the AI, and how does the data enable it? We saw that. The AI, as for AI, the raw material for AI is what? Is data. So if you don't have data, what business do you have to talk about AI? Are you getting the point? So, government says, okay, we are digitalizing. It's a good thing. But how are we doing it? Because now people are on top. All right? People are doing clouds. So there's cloud computing. Cloud computing, the idea is to gather data. The idea is to hold data and have power. Now we say data is mine now. If you have data, it's like, forget about going to gold mines and go and mine. You have money. Data is money. It's huge money now. So Facebook, WhatsApp, all these guys, they are collecting huge sums of data. This morning, I heard the news that they reported metal to the agencies in America because they are trying to breach, privacy in a kids Facebook app. They have Facebook app for kids now under 18, and the law is that you don't expose their data to anybody. But Metal is now selling that data. Metal is now selling that data to businesses, to companies that deals or produce baby stuff, so that they can make money. And so now he has been reported. It happens yesterday, and that is a big plus for us. So data, what empower AI. So everybody is going there. If you don't have data, where are we? Africa, Ghana, where are we? When you talk about data, what do we know about data? How are we keeping our data? How are we collecting data? It's a key thing that we need to begin to have a conversation around. We are on Facebook. Everybody is on Facebook. Even our agencies are on Facebook. We don't have anything. We are not virtualizing. We are not, the cloud. We don't, even when we go to the cloud, we go to people's cloud. They have AWS. They have other cloud. Recently, Alibaba also launched one. They are in the cloud. They are begging people, come to our business, come to our classes, that we have a better price. What are they doing? They are collecting data. So you are paying them to collect your data and still make money from your data. That's what is happening. So we are just sitting. Africa, everything we have, we keep them. We are keeping it. I mean, everybody is holding on to what they have. We don't share information. Africa, we don't share. We keep them. And we died and it's gone. But they are collecting those data and keeping them, making money out of them, selling them back to us again. So that is a conversation we need to be having. And then we also say that the AI, we need to have a serious conversation in terms of how these work with the normal software development. In software development, we have specific tasks. We wanted to perform these HR. Okay, let's take HR. We want you to make sure that you collect the name of all the people in the company. How much are they being paid? Their Senate being paid, and all that. That is what we do in the software development. But in AI, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. The AI will now collect the data and now begin to analyze the data. It's not just collecting, in software you can collect the data and show dashboard. That you collected, you have 10 workers. This is the number of people who attended work, come to work the whole of the month. This is the number of people who came. This is the number of hours they've used. And this is the task they performed. We can display that for you on a dashboard in software application. But the AI will go on to do an analysis, and tell you that, no, this particular employee, sack him. Or do something. Because they have analyzed and noticed that he is not doing well in the company. You see, that's how it has gone beyond that completely. Begin to give you insight, give you analysis, detailed analysis of what is happening in it. All right, so we are saying that because it's a data-driven, everybody is going to the cloud. There's big data, there's language processing, there's ethical considerations. We need to think about that. All right, and then once you are doing that, we need to collaborate. All right, it's a key thing. If you are doing AI, you are into AI. You see, This is an AI center. You ask yourself, why is AI center teaching about ethics? Don't go there. Don't do this. Yes, because we want to have, we want to have this conversation so that we know what exactly is in there. What is coming? What do we know? What are we handling? We are doing this not alone. We are collaborating with 7W in Slovenia. Okay? And then we also have IIPGH, Institute of ICT Professionals, Ghana. And then we also have Academic City. These are the 3 or 4 consortium partners. AIDEC Digital is part of it. And we are, powering AI. But we want to be responsible in powering AI in Ghana. So we need to begin to have a conversation for the leaders to, they need to come on the table for us to have that conversation together. All right. So what is the problem that is in? I think I spoke about the difference in the 2 of them. Okay. So let's move on. So I think there's data awareness and literacy that we need to also look at. Yes, we as human beings, we need to be conscious about data now, from now going, because that is where the money is. We need to be conscious about data. All right. You cannot see data and don't know what to do with it. You need to be, conscious about it and how to go about it, how to look at it. Now, the data awareness talk about identifying trends in data. So when you see data, you should begin to look at it and say, this data is saying this, just by facial look. That should do. And then you can also move on to have what we call visualization. Okay, visualization is where you have your graphs, displaying what the data is saying. Let's take time to look at those and trace patterns. What are the recurrence? Okay, what is actually the data saying? What is it saying? We need to begin to look at that now, from now going. Let's begin to have that conversation and look through that. Big data, what are the sources of it? We spoke about social media. That's where it is coming from. And we talk about how they are processed, not in supervised learning, but in unsupervised learning. All right? Internet of Things device, business transactions, okay, scientific research, governments, public, machine-generated data, all that. Multimedia and crowd source. Those are where the big data is coming from, right? Then we have the visualization comparison. I spoke about some of these already, trying to identify patterns and all that in some of these data. And then you need to build data understanding, all right? You need to build data understanding. You need to basically try and see how you can pre-process. When you say pre-process, looking at how, before you even, we saw the table up there. The first thing we did is to pre-process. We want to look at what is happening in the entire data record before you even go ahead and do the proper analysis and all that. Then there's telling story with data. Okay, we need to begin to say something about data. All right. Once you look at the data, I showed you how the hype in AI. I think you saw that graph and how we've been able to do that. Okay, so that's all that I've explained to you in one slide. All right. So ethical AI. I think we are getting there. So we are saying that for you to go into this space, you must be morally right. You need to be. Your morals must be right. Your integrity must be right. Okay. We don't work in the space with people who have, underlying motives in this space. So if you have an underlying motives, I think this is not a right place for you. AI space is not a right place for you. You saw how Geoffrey felt that no, Google is not the right place for him. He left because of the moral. Because of his moral, he felt that no, if he continue working there and, enjoying the money, he may end up destroying the society. So he decided to leave. All right. So you must be morally right. The frameworks include which we call the principle based. You need to have the principle based rights. We need to have the duty bound virtual. Do you have virtue at all? You need to ask yourself. You need this, area of space. And then we also say is that whilst you are here, make sure that you do good and do no harm. Okay? Make sure you do good and you do no harm. You cannot be in this space and use the knowledge you have to harm people. You must be right to them, right? Okay. And you need to calculate the consequences. If you want to deploy AI, you must calculate the consequences. What would come after this thing has been done? You must do that. And you cannot do that alone. Okay? You need to scan what would be the outcome of it. Is it positive or negative? What action should we take when the negative happens? All that needs to be done. All right. So I want us to look at the consequences.
Russia and Ukraine have opened the door for more viral misinformation to spread online. Now, this video falsely claims to show Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky appears to address Ukrainian citizens, telling them and encouraging them to lay down their arms and surrender to Russia. One version of the video has amassed more than 100,000 views on Twitter. But this is what is known as a deepfake video. It's been manipulated using artificial intelligence. President Zelensky never says those words. What he has said in a post on Instagram is that the only people he wants to surrender are Russians. Now, when it comes to misinformation during the Ukraine war, previously it's been videos or photos that have simply been taken out of context. But as Sam Gregory from Witness told me, that kind of deepfake video represents something different.
This is the first deepfake that we've seen used in an intentional and perhaps broad-based deceptive way in the Ukraine conflict. It's not an effective deepfake, and I think that's partly because it's not an extremely well-made deepfake, but it's also because the Ukrainians have done a masterful job pre-bunking and then swiftly rebutting the deepfake.
Now, the message from that fake Zelensky video was broadcast on 2 Ukrainian television channels. They have both now also released a statement reiterating that it is fake. But what's more, another deepfake video has now also appeared. This one appears to show the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He appears to tell Russian soldiers to go home while they are alive. But again, this video has been manipulated. President Putin did not say those words. Since the start of the invasion, Helena, Ukrainian authorities have been calling on people and encouraging them to be aware these kind of deepfake videos might appear online. And this strategy to try and preempt misinformation, well, it's one that we could possibly see being used by governments in the future.
Yeah, so I think we've seen the implication. I mean, people started using it to dance people's images. It's getting
the ongoing
serious.
peace talks between Russia and Ukraine have opened.
It's getting serious. So it's getting serious every day. So the alarm is there. I mean, the indicators are there. Even with images. I think I have copies of me. I don't know if I put it on the slide. I can see a replica of people. You can see a replica of people. Real images, not like they are animated. Okay? I can see you as you. But it's not you. So where are we going? So that's the danger that we are talking about. Common good. It must serve that purpose. Alright? It must serve the purpose of common good. You must be fair, transparent, accountable. When the issue will happen or the problem happens, you need to admit. The privacy of the people must be considered. Safety, collaboration. You need to involve everybody. Okay? You must involve everybody. And the decision you are making must be right. Must be ethically right. It's not a place for everybody. Okay, so these are the principles that we spoke about. The principles of the AI is to make sure you hold on to this. All right, so this is where we spoke about in the coding area. Okay, we spoke about algorithmic, harm, which the UNESCO has now came out with principle, ethical AI, on how people should be able to look at the space. Biasness in there, okay, that we spoke about. Discrimination, unintended consequences, the lack of accountability. These are the things. People do it anyhow, and they go with it. Nobody punished them because they felt, like you saw in the news. Those who generated that, nobody apprehended them. They are living freely. And they go away. There's no law. There's nothing anywhere that can stop them. They will continue to do it. So we need to look at the space properly and make sure that critical incidents, when it happens, what do you do? So that is why collaboration is key. So that whilst you are a group of companies doing this, when something happened, you come together quickly and sort the You see, that's the problem. Some could have laws that probably spoke about using your image for something. But in this case, the way they are doing it, they are not even probably, they may not carry your real image. Okay? They will clone your image. Alright? So they can tell you that is not your image they've used. Even though it's your image. But they will tell you that what is your original image? We will pick your original image and we can analyze with the same application. And we'll notice that but the image you use is different. But even though you look the same, but okay, so that is where the conversation is. Casual reasoning. You can't have people who have just little reasoning about the space. No, serious people need to be here and have a conversation. Your society, you need to make sure that people are able to have security and privacy. That is key. You need to monitor the system, audit the system all the time, and making sure that you are doing the right thing all the time. Human rights. We spoke about how human rights is key in this area. Freedom of expression and information. Rights to work. People are now being laid off. Yeah, I think I was saying that the people who are right now in trouble because of chat, the content writers, okay, the journalists, they're in a big trouble. I think we can just have one journalist in our place and have the rest, probably maybe they can go outside. But one person sitting there and do everything. Just write anything you want to write and send it to us. We'll better it and push it. That's what is going to happen right now. So, in a few time to come, or a few months to come, I would begin to, or we would all begin to hear that, this group of people are being laid off. Why? Because there's a tool that can do that work within seconds. AI is developing, application programs, like all the coding that we've saw. I use AI to do some of them there. So what do we need coding for? Just one person who have an understanding will send everybody home. You see, so you cannot be doing that. If you are doing that, there's human rights, in that space. So that is what we're saying. When you're collecting data, you must make sure that you don't expose people's data. Okay, the detail about them and all that. Misuse of it. Yes. So look at this picture. This picture here. Look at Amnesty International criticized for using AI generated image. Amnesty International. This is AI generated image. Soldiers, apprehending somebody. You thought this is real. It's not. But the pictures look very real. Doesn't look like an animated picture. Yeah? So that is the danger we are talking about. Misuse is autonomous systems must be checked all the time. And so this is where I'm concluding with that AI. Now there's some kind of relief coming. The relief that is coming is that we call something interpretable models. Now, these models that we spoke about under the the unsupervised and supervised and reinforcement learning. These three falls under interpretable models. What it means is that they can throw back to us what they have analyzed, what they have explained, or what they have seen. But these ones, they don't do that. They keep it to themselves and keep learning to better whatever they have learned. So that's the danger. So we are saying that now there's a lot of work being done in interpretable models to have that on this, so that whatever explanation that goes on here, it can be interpreted, so that we know that what we place here is giving us the right information, so we can prepare ahead of time. At this note, we'll say thank you very much for listening to me. We hope and pray that Ghana, Africa would stand up to the challenge and will be ready to take up these steps that we spoke about. We need to, every step that this technology takes, policymakers, those who are in power, who have the interests of the people at heart, must also take that step. They need to be marking the technology step by step to make sure that everything that we are doing are being monitored. Thank you very much for listening to me.